What's going on, everyone? My name is Chris Rickenbaugh, and you're listening to another episode of the Figuring It Out Finance podcast. This is a personal documentation of my journey in real estate and business, and I'm also going to be talking a little bit about travel hacking and personal finance. So you can find me everywhere at Figuring It Out Finance. I post weekdays on Instagram and TikTok where you can stay up to date on everything that I'm doing. And then you can follow along on the podcast if you go to figuringitoutfinance.com, where you can listen on all of your podcast platforms. Podbean is where I post. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts as well. So, documenting my real estate journey, it has been a wild ride this year. Just got back from my annual tax meeting, going over some things. Only had one house sold this year, so not going to be too big of a tax problem, but hopefully next year that's a more interesting conversation. So I just wanted to document kind of where I'm at on all of my flip projects, and then I wanted to talk about where I messed up on a recent deal that I've been that I was under contract for, and why that happened, and what we're going through right now. So stick around to the end, and I'm going to break that one down. So flip number 2, that one is currently going on month 5. We finally have all of the inspections going on. So this is the one I post about. The upstairs is completely done. We just got the downstairs insulated, and that was the last video of where I have it at on my Instagram at this time on Tuesday, December 17th. So if you're listening now, you can check back in later this week, either or next week, and all of the drywall is going to be done. The painting, the shower, it will be complete down there. So I'm super excited to be able to knock out this project and just get it complete and done and out of the way to get it on the market and sold. So that one is going on. We just got dragged out by some issues with trying to pass inspections, because what we did was, I've documented this before, we didn't think we were going to have to get inspections or anything passed for the basement, but what happened was we tried saying that I was going to be the one doing it, and if it's over a certain amount, then it has to be covered by licensed people. So it needed to be done by licensed people. The people we had it done by work for licensed companies, but come out and do side work for us. So that delayed everything. And so it was about a 2-month delay on top of a month already that where we were at. So that's about where we are with that. The duplex flip that I'm also going through, side 1 is just about complete today. So they went in and did all the primers. So we should be painting hopefully by the end of this week. They're starting to do some of the little outside stuff. And once it's painted, we can start going in, do all the cabinets, finish the flooring, and then hopefully get that thing rented by the end of the year, if not by the first of the year. So that one is rolling. So that's primarily managed by my partner. And we're just kind of going through this, figuring out how our partnership works, what's our strengths, and to be able to go from there. So it's definitely fun. I think that's going to be where my strengths are, is having somebody else kind of be the hustle to where, I can go and look for more opportunities and, figure out the top part of the business rather than working in it. So if I have that manager or that person that can go and be the hustle, that wants to drive around, check on the flips, take pictures, videos, communicate with the hard money team, that's what I need. So for right now, I do a little bit of that on this project, but I like it a lot more because I don't have to be that main person. I can just kind of make, those more top decisions, and because that's eventually where I want to be. And I had the advice one time to where they said, there's different levels of a business. So you have the bottom line employees, so then you have the managers, and then you have the middle people to where the managers report to them, or the top line managers, and then they report to corporate, who report back to the owner, who has the vision. So the quicker you get to that top line, the quicker you're going to be able to build your business. So that was the advice that I had, and my mind went to work on, okay, how do I do that? So, with a couple of these flip projects going on, it's been trying to figure out where and how we can implement this as soon as possible. So, if we have more private lenders coming in, we're going to be able to do more flips. We're going to be able to build this business. I have a lot of people interested, and they're just like, early 2025. So now it's starting to get back into, all right, well, if it's early 2025, we have to manage what we have now and get prepared for when we do have that money coming in, that we can really move on these projects and that we have that deal flow coming in. So my wife is eventually going to quit her job, and she's going to be able to help us. So figuring out where that is, and I think a lot of that's going to be offering on market, because offering on market, we don't have the time right now to sit down and knock out an entire contract or contract to offer. So, all we do is we need that person that can just fill out the contract. So that is pretty much where we're at on that duplex, though. Everything's moving along great. We're waiting for that tenant to move out of the other side. And once he's out at the beginning of the year, we're going to be able to start knocking out side number 2, rent out the first side, and hopefully put that thing on the market by the end of January, early February. So that's the plan. And then my second flip project, we are hoping to have this thing on the market right at the beginning of the year. So those two are the current projects. So now I'm going to move into the other two, and then the last one where I messed up. So I have another one under contract right now with the same wholesaler, and basically where we're at with that is we have to wait for the probate to finish. So what the wholesaler tried to do was say, oh, well, we're going to close on this date, when it wasn't really up to the wholesaler, and we have to report to the attorney, to where the attorney is telling us, all right, where we're at in this process, what these people need to do. So basically, we're anywhere within 2 weeks to 2 years, and then we have to come up with the $40,000 to be able to close on this thing, because we have the financing secured. Now it's like, all right, when are we going to close? So they kept trying to push it out and say, 2 weeks. Well, maybe another week. And now we're out, he tried to say 3 months, where it's not really up to the timetable on that person. What it is up to is whenever they get the probate situation figured out. So the probate could be 2 weeks, between 2 weeks to 2 years, or even longer. So I decided to keep my earnest money in that, because it's going to be a solid little base hit flip. But we figured, well, we might as well hang on to it. So that one we still have under contract, and they slipped it into the contract saying, oh, well, within 7 days you need to close on this house after probate gets settled. It's like, hell no, we're not doing that. It's like, we're going to push that puppy out to at least 2 weeks. So that's where we're at on that one. And then within the past 2 weeks, we closed on another property. So this one, it's a 3-2 with a little over 1,400 square feet, where basically what they need is there's a tenant in there, and we need to get her out. So we're working on the eviction process right now. So we have to give her the 30-day notice, and then she's going to basically have to be out of there. So we're trying to work on different ideas onto how to help her move. And that's the process on that right now. But we have a pretty good little spread on it. So we might be able to sell that one off. That's what I would like to do. So we're walking it with a couple people, trying to get in there this week to where we can get those hard offers on the property, and then maybe be able to accept one if we like the number. So that one, it might take a little bit longer, but that's where we are at. So getting into the last one. So this is one I didn't post on Instagram, but we had it under contract, and we got it under contract with a new person in the Deal Flow community. And we said, hey, this looks like a little base hit wholesale deal where we didn't have to we probably would have had to put $500 into this thing and then put it right back on the market. So where we started running into problems is it is a 55 plus community. So as soon as I signed the contract, that's when we found out about that. So the wholesaler didn't disclose it to us, claiming that they didn't know. And we said, okay, well, the numbers still look good, and then we just have to raise the money. So raising the money for that, I had a couple people reach out to me, say, hey, we would love, are you interested in, are you taking private money? And we're like, yeah. And then I got this deal right here, and they're like, oh, well, we're not ready yet. So that put us into a bind of trying to raise the money. And then, so I started sending it out to all my contacts, and I had somebody text me back and saying, hey man, are you looking to wholesale this out, or you're just looking to raise private money? And I'm like, well, we're just really looking to raise private money, but I'm interested in, assigning it if you're interested. And he's like, yeah, I'm interested. I'm like, all right, well, here's the number. He's like, yeah, man, that looks good. Let me talk to my partner. So we went from there, and that is what caused all of the problems with the wholesaler, because I was doing what's called daisy chaining. So I wasn't aware that that's what that was. And because we're simply looking to just get it kind of off our plate, make a little bit, and it just didn't end up being like that. It wasn't me being intentional about, trying to make this huge spread off this other wholesaler and daisy chaining. I simply didn't know until they called me back and got pretty mad at me. I'm like, well, all right, well, let's look at this process. And so yesterday rolls around, lots of phone calls trying to figure it out. And we started uncovering a lot of other things about this property and why it wasn't selling. So the wholesaler originally told us, yeah, man, it's under contract at $550. They forgot to mention all the price reductions that we didn't see that were brought up to them, that it was under contract at $499, so $50,000 lower, and then it still didn't close because the wholesalers didn't, or the owners didn't want to get down to that price. So that put us in a really tough spot, because now the person I'm looking to assign it to, because I don't have the money to close on it, they're like, hey man, we can't take this at the price you have it at $425. We need $415. So I'm like, okay, well, now that we know there's, and then we found out there's foundation problems, which is a huge red flag and why that price kept bumping down. So now I have to build into my spread, or not my spread, but into my renovation sheet to be able to get back to the original cost to close number. What I had to do for that was I had to build a budget now. So we needed $25,000 off, where I had to offer at $400. We weren't able to do that. The wholesaler said no. So we just said, all right, look, if this person can take it over, perfect. Because they're going to have to submit their earnest money. We'll get ours back, and then we'll kind of go on our way. So that's where we kind of ran into problems, because now the wholesaler is holding our money back, and we're trying to figure out how to get it back, because this other person is now under contract while we are technically still under contract. And I haven't signed anything that's assigning over my earnest money to that wholesaler. And basically, we're still under contract for it, and I haven't canceled the contract. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out. We're just basically trying to get our money back and then go from there. But, I definitely am in the wrong in being able to daisy chain that. And I understand that now. That's 100% not my intention. And it just came down to, all right, well, how can we get this off our plate so you guys can be able to close on this house within this week, and we can just get our money back? And originally they told us, yeah, you'll get your money back. And then they came back and said, well, you might get a part of it. And it's like, hold on. What do you mean a part of it? It's like, well, so that's where we're at with that deal. So we're just trying to figure out how to be able to get that money back. If we're just going to completely lose it, and it's the same wholesaler that's kind of gone back and forth with me on the other deals. So we're 100% done with them after this one. But that's about all we have going on right now. So that was 4 projects currently, or 3 currently going on, with 1 more under contract, and we ended up getting rid of the other one, but still kind of in the loop with it, trying to be able to get our earnest money back. So, 5 things going on at one time. This is exactly what I wanted. And, it's a different kind of stress level being able to come up with the money for these sort of things. And, it's just making me pumped for 2025, because we're going to have, 3 houses sold here in the first quarter, and then we already have another one under contract to be able to close on it. So we don't know when that's going to be, but hopefully we'll be able to cash out on one of these houses, and then move on to some more projects as that money comes in. So that's where I am at, but I appreciate you tuning into the Figuring It Out Finance podcast. So this is Chris Rickenboss signing off for episode 93.